Well, if you look at the bottom right of your screen, you'll see that the markets are selling off more than they were before Fed Chair Jerome Powell began warning that larger than expected tariffs likely mean higher inflation and slower growth. Dagan, why is it that we hear all this policy criticism from Powell now, and we didn't hear much of it when Biden was spending money like a drunken sailor, right? I mean, it does seem like he is kind of calling favorites, no?
He is a political animal. We saw what he did right before the election with 3 interest rate cuts, what was the reaction then? He was cutting rates, and longer-term interest rates shot up on the 10-year because he was fomenting inflation, not fighting it. So now he is attributing the effort by President Trump to reorder our trading world as being inflationary. One trader just sent out a message saying Powell is balking. And here were the headlines. Can't have strong labor market without price stability. May find ourselves in scenario with mandates in tension, one versus the other, strong labor market versus the price stability. The Fed's obligated to keep inflation expectations anchored, and economic impact of tariffs likely larger than expected. So if you're waiting for rate cuts, you're going to wait a lot longer.
Larry, he's also going against the market very often in terms of rates. I mean, when he goes up, the market goes down, or vice versa. I mean, it seems like not only is he playing sides in terms of politics, but he's making the wrong moves if you look at what the market is doing with interest rates.
Well, does the market tell you it wants lower or higher rates?
Well, when the rates go up, I think the market's telling you it wants higher rates.
Yeah, I mean,
it's that simple.
The behavior of the 10-year bond, whatever the causality, I know there's hedge fund issues and bank regulatory issues and so forth, but it's been in a trading range, all right? I'll call it 4.5%. It's dropped below 4 and gotten to 5, just less than 5. But my point is, it hasn't done enough to shake the Fed's tree. That's what I'm saying. So if Powell is going to, he can say what he wants to say. I don't think anyone, maybe they listen. There are a few people that still listen to him. But the reality is, I think the Fed's going to keep its powder dry and not do anything. All right, and I think that is a wise course, because I don't think anybody, look, you have all these Wall Street banks predicting deep recession and high inflation the day after Trump unveiled his reciprocity trade policy, which was stupid. Then I see the Bank of America is reversing its position, and I saw 1 or 2 others reversing their position. Well, just let's see what happens here, okay? As a thought, with all the dealing going on, we were talking about Japan and Vietnam earlier and so forth, it may turn out that very few of these reciprocity charges will ever go into place.
Thank you.
Okay? That's point number 1.
Thank you for saying that. And the fact that he's coming out and he's fear-mongering right now, and he just made the Dow losses go from about 250 to 600 points is irresponsible.
Well, okay. I won't disagree, but I want to finish the other point. It's also very possible that a large number of countries who choose to deal with the United States in good faith will deliver lower tariffs. They'll have lower tariffs, we'll have lower tariffs. And my third point, which is probably the worst point of all, is that what Trump is doing may turn out to be a very pro-growth policy measure, simply because he is making trade freer pretty much around the globe, with the exception of dictatorships like China and Russia. But putting all that aside, even Europe may come in and play ball. I'm just saying, if somebody would disagree with me, I respect the disagreement, okay? I'm just saying these are possibilities. These are possibilities we should entertain, and we should not prejudge this because none of it's gone into place yet.
But Lydia, part of the problem is that there's more than just reciprocity, and at least the beginning outlay, the blueprint that the president and Peter Navarro and others laid out, included beyond reciprocity things like trade deficits, which some countries like Vietnam, they're going to have a trade deficit. They can't afford, the people making $10 a day can't afford to buy as much U.S. goods, so they're going to have a trade deficit. Should that be part of the equation for our tariffs on them?
I'll leave that to the wise, super wise experts like Larry and Dagan and you and Jackie. I see. What my understanding is, we'll always have some kind of trade deficit because we're such a big economy and we are an economy of consumers. But in that way, and tell me if I'm wrong, that means they need us more than we need them, and we should leverage
That's
that
our bargaining position.
to our advantage.
We are always going to have trade deficits because, look, if the Trump policies work, lower taxes and deregulation, energy production, which I believe they will, we'll grow faster than the rest of the world. So although it would be great if we increased our exports because of better market access, because of reciprocity, important point, we will still consume a lot of imports, either for business or consumption purposes. So that I've never agreed. I've tried to.
Did Trump ever agree with you on that?
No. I've tried to talk to Mr. Trump about this, I guess, the better part of 10 years. Essentially,
he's a Ross Perot guy.
The Art Laffer argument, we import, then the capital goes circular and comes back and invests here. And indeed, it will invest at low tax rates in our own factories and is a very good thing. But I've never succeeded in talking Mr. Trump into that. However, I see that as a minor point. I see the tariffs and non-tariff barriers and the market access stuff as a major point. And that's where I think fabulous new freedoms are going to happen. And people, it's right out there, and people just don't want to believe it.
Give them a chance to do it, and they're not doing that, and this isn't certainly helping. But to me, it seems politically motivated.
Let me put an exclamation point on what Powell did today. In the words of Nick Timrose, who covers the Fed for the Wall Street Journal, Jay Powell's remarks reinforce his earlier view that the Fed will not be in a position to preempt weakness from a trade war. And he said it's a somber message leavened in Chicago. Here's a quote from Powell. As the great Chicagoan Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. So let America suffer.
Unbelievable.
That's his message.
Unbelievable. So
all I know is it's illegal to marry your father.
Well,
but
there's
you
something.
can marry your first cousin.
But there's something else, you know. All we
know.
need right now is, if we needed it before, we need tax cuts, secured tax cuts right now, don't we?
Yes.